await President Kenyatta's announcement on the way forward on the curfew and travel restrictions, TIFA conducted a survey targeting Nairobi's low-income earners on curfew compliance and enforcement, Nairobi area travel restrictions and awareness, as well as effectiveness of prevention measures. We're now joined live by Tom Wolf, a research consultant working with TIFA, for more details on their findings. A very good afternoon to you, Tom Wolf. Let's start directly. Awareness of the curfew doesn't seem to be an issue according to TIFA's report, but issues around curfew compliance have arisen. What are the outstanding issues?
Well, thank you, Jesse. It's very nice to be here. And I'm happy to explain a little bit about this survey. And as I think you're aware, this was the second of a multiple round of surveys on this issue with these same respondents in these lower income areas of Nairobi. And this was some results, not all of them, but just a section of results from the second round. And you're absolutely correct that nearly all of our respondents were aware of the curfew in force. But in terms of enforcement, only half of our respondents said that in their localities, in their neighborhoods, was it being completely obeyed. Another third or so said it was being partly obeyed, and then a total of about 15% who said it was being obeyed only a little or not at all. So that's one issue. And keep in mind that about half of the survey was conducted after June the 6th, when the president announced that the hours of the curfew were being reduced, I think 3 hours. He extended the beginning of the curfew from 7 to 9 and reduced its ending hour from 5 a.m. to 4 a.m. But even so, we see a problem with compliance. We also asked that in their localities, have the police been using force to make sure people obey the curfew, and we get well over half, 58%, who said that, yes, indeed, they were using force. But when we asked these same people who reported that force was being used, whether they thought that was justified, an even larger majority, half felt that the use of force by the police was not justified, which was an increase of about 15% from round one, when only 1/3 thought the use of force by the police was not justified, was justified. And now, it has dropped, from half to only 1/3. So the police are using perhaps the same amount of force, but the public's view that such force is justified has dropped. So those are some of the issues regarding the curfew.
All right. As we conclude, Tom Wolf, in terms of the restrictions put in place, cessation of movement around various counties, including Nairobi, briefly, what say Kenyans on the effectiveness of this? Because we well know reports have arisen on porous borders issue.
Just before we leave curfew, I'm also reminded that 3/4 of our respondents, 74%, said that the curfew has had a direct economic impact on the economy of their household. Now, moving to the travel restrictions, as you mentioned, we again asked the question as to whether it was having an impact, and we get very little difference from round one, with about 2/3 saying that it has had a direct impact on them. We did not ask people specifically on this round of the survey whether the respondents or people they know have been violating it, but we know from just talking to our friends and other contacts that there is a certain amount of violation. Whether people are avoiding the police blocks or whether they're paying bribes to get past the police at the barriers. But we assumed that for this question that people were abiding by it. And in fact, our data suggests that people were largely abiding by it, because something like 90% of the sample said that it was directly affecting them in one way or another.
All right, Tom Wolf.
So even if a few people are able to skirt around the edges or jump over the boundaries, it's definitely having an impact.
It definitely is having an impact, and you can definitely get more details on that particular TIFA survey that was released. We were just talking to Tom Wolf.